Hey everybody, thanks so much for checking out Branch Out Guitar. I'm John, and today we're going to be talking about the CAGED system and chord fingering. So let's get started. So the CAGED system is just an acronym for the open position chords that you generally start off learning as a beginner. They're the C, A, G, E, and D chords. So let's step through those real quick here. The C chord here is you're going to start on the 3rd fret of the 5th string with your ring finger. The 2nd fret of the 4th string with your middle finger. You're going to play the 3rd string open, and then you're also going to play the 1st fret on the 2nd string with your 1st finger, and then the 5th string open. So you're going to play all 5 of those strings, and that's going to be your C chord. The A chord is going to be also on those same 5 strings. You're going to play the 5th string, the A string open, and then everything on the next 3 strings is going to be on the 2nd fret, and you have to kind of cram your fingers in here a little bit. So you would start with your index finger here at the 2nd fret of the 4th string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, and then the open 1st string. That's our A chord. And then our G chord is going to start here at the 3rd fret of the 6th string with the middle finger, index finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, the next 3 strings open, and then 3rd fret on the 1st string with our ring finger. And you end up having to kind of stretch here a little bit more between these 2 fingers, the middle and the ring. The E chord, we're finally building our cage here. The E chord is all 6 strings. We're going to play the open 6th string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then index finger here on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, and then the last 2 strings open. That's going to be our E chord. And then finally, our D chord, going to be on the top 4 strings. So we're going to play the open 4th string, and then use your index finger at the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So again, it's called the CAGED system because it's just an acronym. It's just taking the letter names of those chords just so that you can remember them. And it's really handy to learn the CAGED system because you can start seeing different chord voicings all across the guitar neck using those same 5 shapes. In fact, if you've heard of bar chords before, those are just an E chord, starting to move up, or an A chord moving up. And you end up having to do the barring here with your, index finger or one of the other fingers to compensate for the open strings. That comes up maybe in some later lessons, but that's the reason it's handy, is because it gives you different voicings for the same chords with just a few simple shapes. Now, 3 pointers that I want to point out for fingering chords that a lot of beginners I see have a little bit of trouble with. They can learn what the chord is, but they can't really get a particularly great sound. So the first thing that you want to pay attention to is make sure that your fingers are very, very arched, meaning that they're right on top of the string, and that your fingers, so if we go back to the C chord, your fingers aren't really, they're just touching that one string. That's just kind of a general rule that you want to start with. You'll get into exceptions later, but if I'm playing the C chord, I'm making sure that my finger is nice and arched so that just my fingertip is landing right on top of the string. A lot of beginning students I see kind of finger like this, where you're actually fingering on the right fret and the right string, but you start touching other strings and that affects the sound. It dampens them or stops them completely. So instead of getting this sound, which is the one we want, if you kind of angle and not have such a great arch, you might get something like this, where it's not really very clear because your fingers are touching strings that shouldn't be touched, and that's affecting the sound. The other thing, the second thing that you want to pay attention to that will help your chording, even with these 5 chords and beyond, is your wrist position. Again, you'll come into exceptions later, but starting out, you really want your wrist to be about as flat as possible, making a kind of straight line, straight plane here with the top of your hand here and your forearm. And I always just say, if you're going to ask for change, you just hold your hand out like this. That's about how you're putting the guitar in your hand here, and you start fingering from there. I see a lot of beginning students, they start moving around like this and changing the angle of their wrist, and that gets into a lot of frankly, more painful things, like your arm can start tensing up a lot more, your wrist can start tensing up a lot more, your hand, all that sort of thing. You kind of overwork yourself and makes it more difficult. So if I'm playing this C chord again back here with my arched fingers, but you can also see that my wrist is nice and flat here as much as possible. Sometimes you might give a little bit of an angle this way or that depending on the situation, but that's generally the place that you're striving to get to. And then finally, the last thing seems obvious, but it's very easily overlooked because we pay so much attention to the left hand, is make sure that you give it a full strum with the right hand. So again, back to the C chord, I'll go through all these chords here. If we go to the C chord, you don't just kind of flick your hand down here and hit the strings and then you'll get the sound that you're looking for. You want to make sure that your pick, if I'm playing all 5 of these strings, goes down through all 5 strings. It's easy to overlook because you pay attention so much over here and you just kind of do this and maybe kind of do this, and it's kind of the sound that you're looking for, but it's not quite the full C chord sound. That's coming also because your right hand is working just as much as your left. It's just easy to overlook. So if I play C, I got to make sure that my pick goes down all the way through the first string, starting on the 5th string. If I go to the A chord, the same thing. The G chord, a little bit easier because you don't have to skip any strings, it's just all 6. If I make sure I'm arched here, this one you might have to kind of adjust your wrist angle a little bit because you have to stretch a little bit. This stretch is a little bit harder. Your wrist can give some relief there. I still strum all the way down. The E chord, same thing, all the way down. And then the D chord, starting here on the 4th string, and then all the way down. So remember, you want to have arched fingers. You want to have your wrist nice and flat as much as possible, and then you want to give it a full strum, and that's really going to help you improve a lot more with these beginning chords to get a nice full sound. So that's pretty much it for the CAGED system and chord fingering tips. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get more great guitar information. You can comment, share below, and be sure to check out branchoutguitar.com. We'll see you next time.